A word of caution before you enter this video. This is purely for entertainment reasons, and definitely not because I am bored. Also, it is extremely experimental, but remember, this was for fun. Oh, and spoilers. In Final Fantasy XIV, there is a defining element that everyone loves about this game. And no, I'm not talking about your degenerate fantasies revolving around slash-pose Mikotes. I'm talking about bosses. From trials, to raids, to alliance raids. You're going to be facing a handful of them in this game, all of which have similar, if not wholly different mechanics that you must push through. Music, which you jam out to, or lose your mind listening to it for the 100th time. Stories that have brought tears to people's eyes or made them question the actions of a certain character. So, I developed an idea. What if I made my own trial for this game? I can't make it completely unique because that is taxing and I am not a game designer. But I have a dream. An American dream. Which is why this video isn't going anywhere. But with that being said, kick back and relax, and join me on my adventure of how I made my own Final Fantasy XIV trial. This is a story that can be considered as side content, kind of like the Four Lords or the Sorrow of Wurlith. But since we're designing one fight, the whole questline is a bit changed, and we would want to create a narrative that drives the protagonists forward. After the fall of Garlemald, the Blades of the Emperor, or the Reapers, no longer have a duty to fulfill, so they have gone rogue, or that is what we thought. Even if not, Reapers that are let loose are a danger and need to be neutralized, or because of how the main cast function, we'll try to reason with them, because of course they do.
Why have you come?
With this in mind, the main protagonists have a job to do. After a series of searching and understanding, you come across a field that shocks you. Corpses of Garlean bodies found, their injuries brutal enough to think that the threat was a monster. So, an investigation is in session, hunting down the monster that is capable of causing such wounds. Codename Amphitheer. Small hints here and there for you to wind up back around the Gimlet Dark to find your target. A female Viera in all black with a threatening scythe, more on design a bit later. She recognizes you and prepares for battle. Our characters, being who they are, tries to reason with her and also tries to understand why she did what she did, as they usually do.
Why?
And of course, no answer. We fight her once in a small instance only to get our asses kicked in, pushing us to figure out a trick on how to ease her Reaper abilities. After much research from our beautiful two Neko bookworms, we figure out an idea, a method of stunning her to making fighting a little bit easier. How do we do that method, you ask? Modifying Aura Sight and chucking it at her only for it to act as a flashbang when she strikes it out of instinct.
But what the hell, boy?
Yeah, I didn't put too much thought into that, but I made like a Chinese company and did what they do to children. I made it work. After defeating her, we learned with the power of the Echo that she fought in the Gimlet Dark, failing to protect Varys when ordered to return from the battlefield, making her the reason for his death. With the knowledge of Gaius being a traitor, but just blaming who was needed to protect the Emperor. She exiles herself only to be hunted by other Garleans, only for them to get murdered by her. This sounds familiar. With this, we learn that she can be a strong ally with a purpose and a place to call her own. Story over. I'm sure if there was more time put into the brainstorming in this, the story might be fuller and have more potential as that of the Sorrow of Wurlith. But yeah, let's move on to design. Every boss has a uniqueness when it comes to design, and this character is no exception. Amphitheer is a battle-scarred character, sporting scars and body modifications like tattoos, making her stand out a little. Her armor is loose but tattered to give a more battled look, but also emphasizing her mobility. Her hair wild but still tied because it's more efficient. By using Photoshop, we can add these modifications, even some modifications in places we don't really see like the arm or back, giving an opportunity to make a cutscene where we see her in a more human than weapon way. Her eyes are blue but change to red whenever she uses the powers of her avatar. And I suppose that is all we can talk about when it comes to design. I went a bit overboard when it came to creating the character because I wanted to make her stand out, similar to how Ferdola or Yotsuyu stand out because of their features. Yes! Now you have come to the part that I really enjoyed. When thinking music, I had to put in a couple of different elements to make it work. First is to make it intense but not overwhelming for the player. Second is to make the theme represent the boss without lyrics. And thirdly is to make it tell a story to a degree. Beats per minute is 120, going for D minor to make it sound a little bit more tragic. My biggest reference for this song was Shinryu's pacing and intensity, Vo3's insanity, and Sir Alone's melodic dance. And of course, adding in my own charm as I did for the previous 4 songs I made in the past. So, I made like a crackhead and cooked up something that I'd find myself addicted to. Boss themes usually don't have a build-up, they're immediately straight to the action. Most songs do this by adding a reverse crash, or a surprise instrument as they did for Insanity. To make the intro pack a punch, we include cellos for chords, a double bass for low melodies, and a brass to spice things. And these drums, thanks to this guy. And of course, to make it even more like a boss theme, we include vocals. The instrument that speaks volumes when it comes to storytelling is the flute, having the softer sounds giving the sense of humanity, but immediately breaking that humanity with strong industrial sounding percussives made by this guy. Every sound carries a specific meaning to how it shapes the character it's trying to represent, and since the pacing goes from slow to intense and repeats, we want instruments that can offer that, but we also don't want to go overboard with the amount of instruments we use because we use a lot. After a whole day spent, we finally cook up a song that I can see myself in combat with. As for the part that loops, we shouldn't really care about that since the fight doesn't even exist. Now, it is time for the part that was most experimental. Hi guys, and welcome to a lemon lecture guide on the fight FFXIV Ve Mezorim. Okay, I'm not actually going to do that. This fight is going to be a 4-man trial, and unlike Rathalos, there will be role requirements. I decided to make it a 4-man group because the boss would be about the same size as the player and isn't flying. Having 8 people would make it hectic, and bukkake. This is going to be a very reactionary fight, with a lot of pattern recognition and reading abilities. Most of these mechanics are referenced to fights that already exist in the game, be it raids or trials. Let me go over a couple of examples for mechanics. Sickle swipe. The boss will hold her scythe in a specific position, can be to her front, right, left, or back. If she were to hold her scythe to her front, she would cleave in the pattern right, left, and back. There are 4 different patterns, but players will figure out the safe spot quite quickly. She has other mechanics such as bloody regress and bloody transgress. Regress is doing the opposite of what she had already done, and transgress is to repeat the mechanic she did. Some little wordplay such as lop animarum, which is a stack mechanic, and lot animarum, which is a spread. Most of these mechanics can be merged to become one big mechanic, lop animarum into sickle swipe into bloody regress. Each person has to spread, figure out the safe spot depending on the position her scythe is facing, and then figuring out the next position since she will do the opposite of what she already did. Quite reactionary mechanics to go over, which I find challenging but fun, even when you understand what to do, like Endwalker's 4th extreme trial. A very interesting mechanic that I had in mind was Caden Dolem. Players will be marked from 1 to 4, and they need to bait the boss to only cleave one player at a time. Only catch is that she cleaves in a 270-degree angle, and if she cleaves in the same direction she looks towards, she cleaves the whole arena instead, making players have to run back and forth, leaving the marked players standing in the same position. Can you tell I was tired when I had this plan? And with that, my creative freedom was slowly dwindling. Creating a story, design, music, and some mechanics was enough for me to figure out that this whole thing was just a massive experiment and makes me wonder why I tried so hard. I still don't know why. Hello there, and thank you so much for watching. If you want to listen to the song I made, I left a link down in the comments. If you like what you see and want to help the channel, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel a ton. But with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.